Hello, folks. Welcome to this podcast. If you are here for the first time, my name is Kannan. I'm a deep tech geoeconomic strategist, a venture promoter, venture architect, and senior strategy consultant who help brands, large organization institutions, governments around the world through geoeconomic means, applying long history of my experience in business, trade, and technology. Today, we are going to be talking about geoeconomics itself and why nations around the world and the organizations which are pretty much a nation by themselves, they are at a large scale, are going wrong with the very wrong understanding of how the power system can be played geopolitically around the world, right? Um, it's well known that there are, according to Susan Strange, the four components of international powers, right? One, financial power, getting the power over the competing nations through finance or money, creation of money and using it as a financial tool, and including the accounting process to dominate the world. Then the second thing is the production. So dominating the world through means of production. The third is about security, including national security and regional security, basically using the force, right, to in the name of security, get power. You dominate powerfully through military across the world. The fourth one is knowledge. Finance, production, security, and knowledge. These are the four pillars used by, until 2000. The first three are used for the nations, countries to dominate the world, and the same strategy is being used by large organizations as well. But then after 2000, when we got deeper into the information world, knowledge, pretty much the first three are kind of not very handy because everybody could able to replicate it. The nations started learning everything on those three: finance, production, and security, right? But I'm talking about those competing national, international dominating powers. So we are talking about the fourth one. We are going to be talking in this podcast about the fourth one, the knowledge, right? So the knowledge is what now the past 2 decades countries are applying, and the large organization institutions are getting created on the process, or large organizations who got created by entrepreneurs being used by the nations to dominate the world through the knowledge. But up until recently, with the exorbitant development in the artificial intelligence, knowledge is being taken to the next level through the wisdom, right? That's where people like me come in with the deep tech and all, and we've been talking. I've been talking about it for the last few years. I've been helping organizations, startup ecosystems, and all to how to use the deep tech, not just only the artificial intelligence, but anything that is deep tech, to take the knowledge to the next level, which can help the nations, nation states, economic regions, on even the large organizations to dominate and basically outpower the competitors. Some Recently, with the development of Chat GPT, launching of Chat GPT, you have seen the debacle of Google, and then Microsoft coming up with the challenging, with the empowering its browser through ChatGPT, putting it a big challenge for Google to dominate and all. In my personal opinion, which I'm giving based on my deep tech experience and knowledge, uh, none of these companies are going to be really successful because of the baggage they have been creating. We are going to be seeing that shortly. So there's going to be opportunity for new nation states, um, and new organizations to be part of this mass transformation of international empowerment through from knowledge to wisdom, right? So before getting in deeper into the topic, I would like to first explain what geoeconomics itself is, and why geoeconomics is more important than talking about geopolitical and geostrategic. Um, Although geoeconomics is seen as the subcomponent of geopolitics, it is becoming more and more the driver. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't understand it. It becomes a driver for the geoeconomic and geostrategic domination of the world, right? So, what is geoeconomics? The definition of geoeconomics is use of economic instruments to produce beneficial geopolitical and geostrategic results with maximizing trade, right? Trade benefits, maximizing the trade benefits uh, with the use of efficient use of the capital resources. What does it mean? Um, there are a lot of economic tools available, with the history of economics in the past few hundred years. Economic theories have come, and a lot of different school of thoughts, and many tools are available with from the economic scientific communities. So these collection of tools, right? Using these collection of tools or instruments to produce beneficial geoeconomic benefits, right? So it has to be aligned with the benefits of geoeconomically, uh, and the process, it has to maximize the trade benefits, right? The focus should be on maximizing the trade benefits. The focus is not winning geopolitical empowerment on other nations or other regions or other economic zones, but actually to maximize the trade benefits, right? So by at the same time using uh, efficiently using the capital resources, right? Not allocating too much of capital resources available, including human capital, right? That's the key, which a lot of nations are failing to understand, and even large corporations and leaders are failing to understand, right? So the geoeconomics, basically it's all about the process and towards the common goal. It doesn't really focused on end result of capturing the power or winning geopolitically. Yes, eventually the geopolitical win will happen, but the focus is on the maximizing the trade itself, right? Because most of the major reason for war is always economic, right? So that's the focus of this discussion. So how the nations are approaching these days, right? Or how should they approach in terms of dominating the world, or at least to put a fight against those who are trying to dominate them. Okay, basically put the geoeconomics on top of your geopolitical ambitions, because the geopolitical ambitions will automatically happen if you put the geoeconomic ambition in the front, and those organization or institutions who again wanted to dominate in the market should also apply the same thing, correct? Put the geoeconomic as a strategy, than anything else, correct? As a frontline strategy. So the focus, basically the components of geoeconomics is like, it has to be, it has to focus on supply chains, it has to focus on the market, the focus should be on mostly on the market, and it should be non-confrontational. These are the basic discipline, right, under which the geoeconomics has to be played. Uniform and long-term transformation has to be focused on, and then it should not be based on specific events or cases. Geoeconomics is not, it should not be based on simple, a series of events. It's based on, long-term transformational, process, right? And the results of the geoeconomics strategies should be not measured not by the ends but by the means itself. Right? Now, many of the uh, countries are trying to win kind of a geopolitically, they don't use geoeconomics as a strategy, but they try to use creation of organizations champion organizations, basically, put all the resources into few companies. Some countries are just deploying in one corporation as a, they've taken bad ideas or bad strategies by, learning from the history, but then applying it in the wrong times of change, right? So these champion companies, creating these champion companies, over capitalizing them, empowering them, over empowering them, is a strategy applied by some of the nations and around the world, and which is pretty much wrong, right? The result will be pathetic. It will not be good, right? So why? Because you are artificially creating the value in these organizations, and these organizations, regardless of what innovation you put in or how much capital you deploy, these organizations are going to be standing on a very weak foundation, and eventually they're going to be they're going to destroy the economy of the nation itself. So the most of the countries are trying to use innovation as one of the tools to again, get ahead economically against their competitors. They increase the innovation, but again, the problem with the innovation is innovation not necessarily will scale. So scalability is a major issue with innovation. We have seen that over and over again. There are a lot of flaws with the innovation. Innovation may not become handy for nations or corporations created by these nations to dominate, because they have an issue with the mass production. Innovation takes a long time to you know, get incubated. They needs to be nourished, and a lot of these innovations are focused on specific market or specific economic region. They may work within that economic zone, but you may not be able to use it as a geopolitical tool to dominate in the world market or to win over the other world powers. Why? Because the mass the mass production is not only the problem but mass adoption, because innovation is very difficult. Most of the innovation results in products and solutions which cannot be adopted by mass, and the way you are enforcing it, and the influencing it, influencing enforcing mass enforcement, mass corrections, a lot of these issues would be part of their failure, right? Yes, in the past we have seen, generations by generations with the innovations in the railroads, aircraft, internet. All these things they have boosted the economics, and then the nations have dominated the world with such innovations. It's true, but they all have if they had common thing, their ability to scale. If you are not able to scale it, then it is pretty much going to be a big problem. And as I said, the scientific innovations are going to require some period of incubation. It takes time, for these innovations to come through, and these innovations are transformed. No matter how much secretively you keep these innovations, it gets copied, right? The classic example of recent example of ChatGPT taking the whatever Google gave it out freely. A lot of people say that it was stupid, for them to give it away, the framework back in 2014, which gave the start, for the opening for ChatGPT to start as a project. But it's a lot of such things are very difficult to contain. Even my technology, the Karma Capsule network, which I invented, and I had applied for the patent back in 2020 for that innovation framework. It's based on Geoffrey Hinton's CapsNet. I took a leaf from there. Basically, I was doing something similar to that parallelly, but eventually I saw that I need a scientific validation, so I aligned my invention with Geoffrey Hinton's CapsNet. So the Karma Capsule network, reinforced CapsNet is what it combines the reinforced the model with the traditional CapsNet model, right? So such innovations, right, can be adopted and copied and taken to the next level. When somebody can adopt my framework and implement it and move on. So I was thinking of keeping it as a private, but then I said there's no point in keeping it as a private, because eventually somebody is going to take it forward. Instead of my name on it, somebody else will claim. Now, with putting this innovation out there in the public domain, I'm the creator, I'm the inventor. Nobody can take it away. Yes, a lot of people can capitalize on it. I'm giving it away. So likewise, a nation can take it forward with other innovations. You see that the success of China, with taking the innovations on artificial intelligence, and having their engineers coming back to China after learning from the world, especially from the West, from the US, A lot of artificial intelligence, the deep tech is, the knowledge and expertise being transferred back to China, with them taking to the next level. This is the problem with innovation, right? By the time you are sitting on it, so the originator, the creator of the innovation may be sitting on it, but the one who is copying it and taking it to the next level is going to capitalize first, and they're going to win. This is true with the companies, then it is definitely true with the countries, the nations also. This is where the geoeconomics plays beautifully, right? So the focus should not be on innovation. Try, like everybody's talking about the chip, going, oh, who captures the chip market is going to win. Who's going to put the production of master semiconductor chip? They're going to win. No, not necessarily, right? You may be deploying a lot of capital. The basic geoeconomics says, you should not be simply deploying. Well, yes, America is printing dollars, so they have a leverage to just keep simply deploying a lot of capital into the semiconductors. But that's not right. That's not going to make it work, right? So it has to, the efficient use of capital is what going to make you successful geoeconomically. Probably by the time you invest and get your production ready in the next 3 years, China might invent something else. They will take the things away, and you don't even need those factories in Arizona or anywhere to produce these chipsets, right? So the artificial intelligence is that's why Chinese, in my opinion, Chinese understood artificial intelligence much deeper than the other people. Yes, they may not be using it for the right use cases. I agree with it. I would love to use it for the development of humanity, without taking away the liberty and freedom of people, humans in general, right, across the world. Uh, but then, this is my take. Being a libertarian, I love those ideologies, but many nations don't go with such ideologies. They wanted to dominate. They wanted to go ahead. They wanted to, regardless of what they are, whether it is going to be beneficial for the humanity or going to be, taking away the liberty of individuals, or they just don't care. Correct. So that's where you got to be very careful not to rely on innovation, because it can be taken away quickly, right? So the market readiness is the next thing, right? The But by the time when you are getting things market ready, it just the mostly the investors, right? Who wanted to take it to the market even if it is not ready. By the on the process, would be killing the innovation, because innovation has to have those incubation period. Going to market is a complex process, and that too, if you are going to the market within a specific region, that may not scale up to the other region because your innovation is too much tied up with the geoeconomic zones, right? So, and then the next reason is the the speculative trading, right? So the market behaves differently. Market needs quick products, and then it has to one is it has to be scalable, but it has to have the mass scalability. But then it also has to generate values quickly, and but then the speculators and the traders work on a different ball game. They work on the perceived value. They just want just a perceived value. They don't work on the real value. By the time you are working on creating real value for these innovative organizations, they would come and simply dump it, right? It may not respond very well, the in the market, correct? So that's a problem. You may say you may have a fantastic technology in your you might have created a fantastic technology, but then your competitor will come and simply bluff, and the market might take their words just on the face value, and keep going. Um, then another major problem is innovation. This is not only for the companies, but again, I'm talking in the context here, both the companies as well as nations, countries, right? It may sound a little bit strange for you, but then, there is a reason I'm combining these two. For me, and nations with boundaries around them, countries with the boundaries, not necessarily be should be called as a should behave as a nation, or does behave as a nation. A lot of powerful multinational, transnational organization, they they behave on the same pattern. They are like nations, right? That's why I'm combining these two together. And leaders of the political leaders of the countries would like to use the transnational organizations to empower them, and transnational organizations eventually, or even from the beginning, needs the political or geopolitical and geostrategic power to gain more strategic advantage. That's why I'm combining them together and using the terms for both, both parties, right? So the highly skilled laborers is the major problem with the innovation. So you innovations, the jobs are created, the human resources are created with a specific highly skilled knowledge for that particular innovative field or technology, right? So which is going to be a problem, like the companies lose the people in attrition, right? So you deploy all the capital to a specific innovation, and then you hire people and train them. By the time they just simply move on to another job. Um, that's true for the nations. So for the institutions, same thing applicable for the countries as well. If a nation or a country is betting on an innovation as the key driver for their geopolitical ambitions, then they got to be very careful. People move, correct? Like the U.S. was in knowingly or unknowingly, U.S. Institutions, universities were feeding with a tremendous knowledge to the international community, especially the Chinese, who has taken away two major communities taken away the knowledge from the U.S. One, China. The second is India. And China literally took the knowledge and applied it and taken to the next level. India still wanted to be the subordinate power by being a knowledge service provider rather than using the knowledge for the geopolitical ambitions, which, in my personal opinion, was a strategic mistake. India should have taken it, not just being obedient service provider, knowledge provider for the world, but also should have done a lot of innovations using this knowledge, right? Now, that's another topic we'll discuss sometime later, in another podcast. So the skilled labors is the issue. So nations cannot, some of the nations can't even train the people, right? Because they have, recently I was talking about the brown field to the green field, the just in transition where people, the people working generation of people working in the coal field, how you can retrain them to another job. I was in confrontation with some people, like, oh, they were talking about putting technology innovations into those people and all. How can you do that? How can you? These are deep-rooted, blue collars. Even you don't even call them blue collars, but they are even coal miners and workers. And if you wanted to use them in other skills, it takes a long time to retrain them. So human resources is a major issue. The next issue is the what Max Planck said: science progresses one funeral at a time. Um, that's so true that scientists, who come with some theories, and your innovation may be based on their scientific theory, and until other scientific community may or may not oppose this theory, but by the time the next generation of scientists comes, they try to prove the other one was wrong. So there goes your innovation to the down with that, right? So that's the another major problem with the innovation. So innovation is like economy is like a state machine, right? So the state machine has to basically you need to have enough. It transforms from one state to the other state, and where if you automatically want to create the profit and the value, then machine innovation fails to produce enough profit, because economy is a state machine. It has to transform quickly from one state to the other state. It does, especially in the free market, and innovation may fail to transform together with the state machine. That's going to be a major problem. So that's the issue, right? So maybe because of this reason, the many nations in the past, the Chinese kingdoms who were leader in printing press, never gave that technology to the world. They failed to, do it. They were afraid to give this technology to the world because for the same reason, they invented it, but then by the time if somebody else can master it, then it will be counterproductive for them. And that is so we have seen that over and over again in the history of the nation's innovation is the killer, right? I'm not suggesting you should not innovate. Of course, innovation helps, but you got to be very careful. All my take is innovation and geoeconomics, right? Innovation has to be driven through the geoeconomic framework. That's what my take is. So all the disciplines of geoeconomics has to be applied. It should not be, innovation should not be driven by blind market ambitions or blind geopolitical ambitions by the nations, right? It has to be aligned. It has to be aligned with the geoeconomic principles and apply, follow the rules, and voila, you will reach the results, right? I will be happy to take any questions. Please send it to maya.kannan@mayakannan.com, and looking forward to see you all in another podcast video. Thank you.